Hello, welcome to the live. Today we're going to be talking about 5 signs that you will become wealthy through the law of attraction. Okay, so today's video is all about indications that you are on the path to attracting money and prosperity. So there's many kinds of abundance. Today we're focusing really on material abundance. So attracting wealth, affluence, material possessions. And so in today's live, I'm going to be going over 5 key signs. Now, you want to see how many of these you have, and you want to amplify each of these as much as you can. Hold on one second. I've got something here making noise. There we go. Sorry, my computer was going off. But as you come in, please go ahead and like the video. Go ahead and drop your abundance questions into the chat because as I'm going to be answering your questions as well. All right, but let's go ahead and jump on in. Now, again, each of these signs are things that you want to see that you're doing. And if you're not doing any of these things, you want to start doing these things because these will indicate that you're moving in the appropriate direction to attract money. All right. And I know that each of these works because all 5 of these things are things that I did not do back when I didn't have any money. And they are all things that I trained myself to do. And they all resulted in me attracting wealth and prosperity and the ability to do the things I want to do, have lots of material possessions and wealth, etc. So they all work. All right. So let's jump into the first one. Okay. The first one, and then I'll go in and answer a few questions that you guys have. All right. So the first sign that you will become wealthy with the law of attraction, it's a very big sign. Okay. And it's that you see your expenditures, all of them, every time you put money out, or at least as much as you can, you see your expenditures as investments. Okay. So when you spend money, you see that spending as an investment. Now, this is contrary to what you will see on the other end of the abundance scale. When people are not attracting a lot of money, they often look at spending money as wasting money or as throwing money away. Now, I know for me personally, back when I was broke and I didn't have any money, that's how I viewed it. Okay, so if I had to spend money on something, I felt like I was wasting it. I was throwing it in the trash. And this is a big difference to what happens when you start to attract money is that, people who attract lots of money, they view their expenses as investments. Now, this is a really important thing to understand and to do if you're not currently doing. Because when you spend money, you can choose to look at the things that you buy as either depreciating your wealth or adding to it. Okay, so let me give you a real life example because this will happen. This has definitely happened with me. And you guys know I like cars a lot. This is something I started practicing a while back, and it's gotten me to the point now where I drive luxury cars. And so you guys know I drive a Maserati now. There's actually this sitting here on my desk. They give you these little toy Maseratis when when you buy one. But this is the way I started to look at cars. Okay. That resulted in me being able to attract the ability to drive really whatever kind of car that I wanted. And initially, back when I first, began learning about the law of attraction, I saw money spending as a waste. And so if I wanted to buy maybe a more expensive car, I would have seen that as a waste of money. Well, I could get a car for 5,000 less, so why would I waste the money? But when I started to look at the cars as investments and understanding that looking at spending as an investment, I would look at the car that I was driving, or if I bought a nicer car, I would look at that as an investment. If I buy a nicer car, it's an investment, meaning I'm going to feel more abundant in that car. Maybe I'm going to attract more opportunities, or more people will want to network with me. if I am in a nicer car. Every time I get into that car, I'm going to be feeling like $1 million. So spending the money on a nicer car is an investment in my abundance. Okay. You see how that works? Now, when you put out the message that when you spend, you're investing, what you're saying vibrationally is the money that I'm putting out is actually going to grow and pay me back. Rather than if expenditure is a waste, the money that I spend is just being taken from me. All right. You could look at this when it comes to things like clothing, okay, or jewelry or hair care or anything it is that you're purchasing. I'm investing. Okay. I'm investing in this jewelry. This jewelry is going to make me feel more abundant. It's going to align me with more prosperity. These nicer clothes are going to do the same. Notice how it is an investment. Okay. Now, these aren't mutual funds. Okay. This isn't real estate, but it's still an investment to me. And the beauty about this is that really almost all of us are spending money pretty frequently. Okay. Every time you make an Amazon purchase, every time you buy a Starbucks coffee, you have an opportunity to practice this idea that the money that I'm spending is actually an investment. So the more that you do that, the more of it is an indication that you are going to attract wealth because every time you spend, you're essentially telling the universe, this is coming back to me with more. All right. So that's the first sign that you will become wealthy is that you view many, if not all of your expenses as investments. Okay. All right. Now, again, welcome in. If you haven't yet liked the video, please make sure to do so. Today, I'm on YouTube and on Instagram. And if you have questions about abundance, please go ahead and drop them into the chat. I'm going to answer as many of them as I can as I go through these 5 signs. We just did the first one, so let's answer some questions. Hello, CZ, Rachel, Torea, Khaled Bill, Emiliano, Living in Gratitude, Uncanny Super, Guillaume. I always want to say your name wrong. Guillaume, hello. All right, let's take a look at some questions here. Tahira, am I saying that right? Hi, Andrea. My question is, I had contrast with money, so I decided to work on money manifest and I worked. After 2 days, my relationship became challenging, so I tried to fix that and I lost my focus. Oh, that's a good question. I like that question. You're bringing up something really important here. We can only focus in so many directions, right? So what you focus on, you attract more of. And so you guys may have noticed kind of this dynamic that she's bringing up here is that if you place your focus over here, you're going to attract more activity in that area. Okay. So if I'm focusing on money, I'm going to be noticing money more in my environment. But now maybe I've taken my focus away from a relationship or family or something like that. And now that is starting to die down. Okay. You'll notice this. Okay. So, like, let's say that friendships are important to you. A lot of times this happens in relationships where you start dating somebody and now you're not paying attention to your friends. And then those friendships start to deteriorate. It's because you're not giving attention or focus to them. So, what I would say is that you don't really have to overdo it in any one area. I like to look at it as really trying to stay in the flow day to day and allowing yourself to be guided to the things that you want to be doing and you enjoy doing. A lot of times with the law of attraction, when people are trying to manifest things, they get hyper focused in one area. So I'm going to put all my eggs in this money basket and really pay attention to this. But now I'm not paying attention to these other things. And so that can kind of mess you up in 2 ways. One, that dynamic that you just mentioned there, where other areas of your life you're not paying attention to. And so they start to deteriorate. Okay. Because again, you attract what you focus on. But also, if you dial in too heavy in one area of life, it is more likely that you're going to become resistant with that particular subject because you're making it so important. It's such a big deal. Okay. And what you really want to try to be cultivating is more of this attitude that everything's working out. Every area of my life is working out. I can flow in and out to any old thing. And also, I'm allowing myself to be moved in the direction of what I feel like doing moment to moment. So for me personally, as my knowledge and understanding of manifestation has improved, I've noticed that this has taken a hold kind of into my life, is that now it's kind of like I'm guided in and around different areas. And if one area is getting too much focus and starts to mess things up, oh, okay, let's look back around. What do I want to focus on now? And just allowing myself to get moved around. Okay. I hope that makes sense. If you dial in too much with one thing, that will happen. Okay. Over here to Instagram. Hello, everybody. Hello, Faiza. Lama Al Bassam. I see my expenditure as philanthropic. Is that the same? No, not a bad interpretation. Philanthropic really means it's helping others. Okay, so making your world a better place, making life better for other people. When I spend money, it's philanthropic. It's helping others. So that's a great way to perhaps build up abundance around you in the community around you. You could play around with investment, because investment would literally mean more money in your pocket specifically, if you feel like being a little selfish, which you're allowed to be if you want to be. Hello, Dottie by nature. My Linnea, do you think you have to clear any department in order to attract money? Department, do you mean blocks? Yeah, it depends on where you're at on the money scale. You may need to clear some stuff, but clearing is sometimes made out to be some big deal. A lot of times it just means dialing into a new way of thinking and allowing that to take root. And so actually all the signs that we're talking about today for many people may be blocks that they have to clear so that they can look at this as an expense rather than as a waste. Okay. Ooh, I'll take another one here from Instagram. Nettle Inc. Hey, my question is, I have great ideas to make money and act on those ideas, but then they seem to go stale and don't go anywhere. Would you be able to help me understand this pattern? Thanks. Um, Stale usually means you're trying to force it, or you're sticking with it for too long, or you're putting too many eggs in that basket. So, like, if you get an idea to make money, you act on it, you take what you can from it, move on to the next idea. A lot of times people have this going back to the well thing. So, like, they get an idea and maybe they make a couple dollars on it, and then they try to go back to the same well and reap, or they focus on that same thing. And a better strategy is to allow yourself to, if you're really good at getting great ideas, just get those ideas and kind of go with them. And when they start to feel stale, hop to the next one. And don't look at it as I failed with this idea. Rather, I'm pivoting to an even better idea. I'm pivoting into a more lucrative adventure. Because right now, what's happening is you're trying something and then it starts to go stale, and you're saying, oh, I messed that up. Okay. So now the energy is on all these ideas. I'm going to mess it up. Look at it. They're kind of like stepping stones. I'm getting a great idea. We make a couple bucks. I get another great idea. Now I'm making a few more. Look at it as a progression. Okay. There's nothing wrong with getting new ideas and going in that direction. That's staying in the flow. Okay. All right. Again, guys, today we're talking about 5 signs that you will become wealthy. And I mean materially wealthy with the law of attraction. All right. Again, if you've got questions on abundance, feel free to drop them into the chat, and I'll be answering some of those as I go along. And you will notice, if you're on YouTube, at the top of the chat, I do have a link to a new program that's going to be going live in October. And if you are on Instagram, you can find this link in my bio, or you can find it on my website, which is andreaschulman.com. But this particular program is called Relax and Detach. Okay, Relax and Detach. It is a letting go program. And so, one thing that people often struggle with when they're trying to manifest money or anything is that they frequently get attached. It's very easy, actually, very easy for us to get attached to outcomes and to want things to happen. And there are real mechanisms in place that make attachment very seductive and very addictive trap for us to fall into. And so this particular program is going to show you how to avoid the trap of getting attached in the first place. And it's also going to show you how to detach if you are currently stuck on an outcome and finding yourself unable to manifest something that you want. Now, again, that program is going to be going live in October. If you are interested in getting updates as that course becomes live, and getting a coupon code for 50% off, because it will be 50% off the first week that I launch it. You can go ahead and sign up for those updates. Again, the link for that is at the top of the chat in YouTube. And on Instagram, the best place to find it is the link in my bio. Also, next month, I also have another program that's going on sale. This sale is going to be on my magnetic appeal program. And so, magnetic appeal is a program about attracting love. And so, it's really good for people who are struggling with self worth, or perhaps they are struggling to bring in a new partner. Maybe they're having a hard time making things work with a current partner. So it doesn't matter if you're married or single or in a relationship, this program is going to help you develop the charisma to magnetize a partner to you and to cultivate a very passionate and lasting love life. That program is going to be on its best price sale next month, 50% off. And if you want a link to that one for updates, Mary, if you would drop a link to that one in YouTube and on Instagram, again, you can go to the link on my bio for that. All right, moving right along. Let's get to sign number 2. And for sign number 2, for that you will be wealthy. Hold on a second. Let's get that out of there. There we go. All right. So, our sign number 2, that you will become wealthy through the law of attraction. The first one was to see expenditures. You see expenditures as investments. The second one is that you have big financial dreams, not small, big financial dreams. And that as time progresses, you notice that your dreams keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay. A lot of times people, they don't even allow themselves to ask for stuff. So if you're in a place where you're not feeling particularly abundant, or you've never been abundant, asking for something really big like a trip around the world or a private plane or a boat or whatever you perceive as being big may seem so far outside of the scope of possibility that you don't even allow yourself to ask for it. Okay. But if you're at a stage in life now, or at a stage in your manifesting journey where you're asking for bigger and bigger things, that's a really good sign that you're starting to believe more that you can have the things that you want. And you're starting to believe that there are no limits on your ability to attract the things that you want. Okay, so this doesn't mean that you have to ask for everything today. But what I am saying is that look at the people around you that you've been resonating with. Are your financial dreams bigger than theirs? That's a good sign. And have you noticed that over time you keep inching up in what you expect and what you're trying to accomplish through the law of attraction? That's a really good sign. Okay. Now, one way to really look at this is that when you look at people who are wealthy, and this is something I've noticed as I've gotten around people who are wealthy, is that they often look at getting money as a game. Getting money as a game. It's not so much, I need to attract this money so I can pay my bills, or I'm worried about my retirement. It's more like they have this attitude of, let's see how much I can get, just for fun, just for sport. And so that's the kind of attitude that you want to develop when it comes to attracting money. And if you have that kind of attitude about always kind of pushing a limit with what you're trying to attract, that's a really good indication that you're accelerating your wealth attraction. And in fact, this is something that you can see in all domains. If there are things that you're really good at in life, you're going to notice that you have that attitude. Okay. So again, we come back to the gym analogies because I love the gym. I always talk about the gym. But with the gym has always been something I've excelled at. And that's one of the things that I always did at the gym. And then I started to apply to wealth, and it improved my wealth. So when I'm at the gym, my attitude is, oh, I wonder if I could do that. I wonder if I could lift even more. I wonder if I could stretch even further. And there's always this idea of how much further can I push it? Not because I have to, not because it matters, not because I need to improve my health or anything like that, but because it's a game. Okay. I had a live that I did a few weeks back on how to become a money player. And if I remember, I'll go through and try and link that up to this video. But it's a live that I did a few weeks back. I believe the thumbnail says how to be a money player, and it really talks about looking at money as a game. Okay, so if you're looking at money as a game rather than as a life or death, got to pay my bills situation, if you look at money as a game and you're always trying to inch forward, making those bigger dreams, that's a really great sign that you are on the path to attracting wealth. All right, let's come back through here and see some of your questions. Priyanka, you have finally managed to connect live. Today is your lucky day. Yes, it is. So good to see you. Opulent Beauty, good morning to you too. Ashlyn Sims, how do I find new friends that have dreams, careers, and focus in life? How do you find them? Well, you might want to do inventory, like of the friends that you currently have, which ones are the most ambitious? Spend more time with them. Notice how your friends already are ambitious in their own way. And if there are people that you are currently friendly with who do not resonate in an area or who are completely diametrically opposed to what you're trying to go towards, it is a good idea to kind of distance yourself from that energy in order to help reduce the amount of blockage. Okay. So that's not to say you have to blow off your friends that don't have dreams and careers entirely, but understand if you're around people who are really lacking that and you really want to focus on attracting career, but you're hanging around a bunch of people who don't care at all, that will be kind of reinforced in your mind. Okay. So it would be a good idea perhaps to kind of step back a little bit from those relationships, dial in as much as you can with people who already have some degree of interest in manifesting those things. And then also, easy things to do are just to go in places where those things are common. Okay, so joining certain clubs, even things like if you go to the wealthier side of town, join a gym there, take a class there, like get around people that are more likely to be doing those things and immerse yourself in that psychology. It will start to wear off on you, and also you'll be more likely to make friends that do those things. Daska. Hi, Andrea. I moved from Canada to Poland, started building a house, and to make a long story short, I got scammed for big money. I desire to reverse it as quickly and painlessly as possible. Okay. So on the surface, that looks bad, right? I got scammed. Please remember this, guys. Whenever there's a big amount of money that goes away, it's actually a tremendous opportunity to enhance your abundance. Okay. If a large chunk of money gets taken, and you can let yourself step back into the knowledge that this is going to be okay. And if I let go of this and remind myself that if I could let that go, more can come to me, more will come to me. What usually happens is for most people is that when money gets taken from them, they see it as a loss, they see it as a waste again. And so then that creates waste and loss in their reality. So if this money being taken from you, you see it as a loss, then it will at the end of the day create more loss on your bottom line. But if you can look at it and say, okay, if I can figure out how to let go of this with ease, now I'm really abundant, because a really abundant person wouldn't care about that much money, would they? They just let it go. So this is an opportunity for me to learn how to enhance my abundance. This scam, this loss was actually an investment in my ability to open up to the idea that I'm okay as I am. That's what you really want to practice. Okay. This is something I've talked about on my channel quite a bit. I really do look at those kinds of things as opportunities rather than losses. Okay. And if you can take that kind of an attitude that, okay, well, if the universe yanked that much money away from me, I must be ready to let go of it. And if I can let go of that much money, that means I'm really abundant because abundant people can let go of large sums. Okay. They can let go of, they take big losses sometimes, they make big investments sometimes, they spend big money sometimes. That's something a wealthy person would do. And they get scammed sometimes, they let it go. Okay. Doesn't mean they like it, but they let it go and they know that more is coming. So that's the attitude. Okay. Maybe this is what sets you up for abundance more than anything else. Okay. It's just the way that you look at it is going to determine whether or not it brings money in or keeps money away. So keep that in mind as you move forward. ACP, how do I manifest retirement? I'm 37 years old. Mm. Okay. You want to stop working? I say that from experience. So I do what I do now. This is fun. This is work. But I think, if you've been watching me for a while, you've probably heard that I don't work that much, only a few hours a day. And so I kind of look at myself as being retired at this point because this is much different than it used to be back when I did work like a dog. So so let me explain to you kind of what I do with that is again, you want to give yourself permission to do what you want to do as much as possible. And you want to start to get rid of work as much as possible. So things that you don't have to be doing, that you don't want to be doing, don't do them. You would probably find that a lot of things that you're doing that that are creating work in your life, and I don't just mean like your 9 to 5 job, I mean work in your life, are things you actually don't need to be doing. They're things that maybe you've always done and so you're just kind of on autopilot, or they're things that somebody else in your home could be doing, or there are some things that you could delegate to somebody else to be doing. But if you can start to get that kind of work out of your environment and give yourself permission to relax more, then the amount of work that is brought into your life is going to reduce drastically. And the amount of free time that you have is going to go up dramatically. Okay. And so that's the dynamic you want to play with. And that's the opposite of what most people do, by the way. They want to retire, so they work like dogs. And then they create so much more work for themselves and have to work a lot longer than they actually have to. All right, let's take another one before I go back and get to our next sign here. The Dijapilon. Hello, never been here before. Well, hello. Nice to see you. Sabitha '09 Ronnie. Hi, Andrea. I'm unable to find my niche and I wake up with thoughts of lack. How do I overcome this, please? Thank you. Okay, find your niche, where you belong, what you want to be doing. So, kind of what I was talking about just a moment ago. Giving yourself permission to let go of things you don't want to be doing will help you dial in more with what you want to be doing. So, if there are things that you don't want to be doing, try to get rid of those as much as possible. Also, allowing yourself to kind of flow rather than forcing yourself into any particular arena is helpful, because if you allow yourself to flow with what feels good day to day, you're naturally going to be drawn into things that are more engaging and exciting and fun for you. And then the little light bulb will go off. Oh, well, it seems like I'm always looking into astrology. So maybe that's my niche. Or I'm spending a lot of time over here in the law of attraction. That's where I keep ending up. So that will kind of cue into you where your natural talents and interests really lie. As far as waking up with thoughts of lack, that's actually pretty easy to correct. You may kind of wake up with that kind of stress feeling, but just some deep breaths and then focus on this question. It's a very simple question. How am I abundant? How am I abundant? And rattle off as many examples as you can. Well, I've got a bed to sleep in. I'm wearing clothes. I have a roof over my head. There's food in my fridge, and just go with that. And when that feeling subsides and you no longer feel stressed and instead you feel comfortable, now you know that you've kind of tuned yourself into a more abundant vibration and you're ready to start your day. Genie 392, is it a sign if people ask you for money to help them out, even if I am not rich yet? Well, I would say it kind of depends on how you feel about it. If that makes you excited, then that could be interpreted as a positive sign. If it makes you feel preyed upon, then that would mean it's kind of bringing out feelings of lack in you. So it depends on how you feel about that. Sandra Brayer, love all your tips. Yes, tip number one, see everything as an investment, not a waste of money. I took your money mastery program, has this tip. Highly recommend people to check that course out. Thank you for the shout out for that program, Sandra. I appreciate it. Leslie, good morning from sunny Atlanta. Hello. Realidad Quantica. Hi, Andrea. I have manifested many things and I have attracted many opportunities for large amounts of money, but they vanished before I can have the money on my account. Any suggestions? Opportunities for large money. It sounds like you're kind of like you're there and then you get too excited and it poofs. Okay. You guys have this happen before where something looks like it's coming and then you start to get really excited about it and then it vanishes. Okay. So it's just kind of like you're getting too into it. Okay. That's usually what that will indicate. So remember, we want to have like a really kind of detached, relaxed attitude about the things that we want to manifest. And so this does frequently happen where there's something that you want and you're vibrationally close enough to it that you start seeing evidence of it. So that's the good news is like you're right there. So you're seeing the evidence, you're watching it come in, but if it falls apart at the last moment, that usually means that you started clinging later in the process. Okay, so what I might do is look at those particular situations and think about where was kind of that tipping point where I was things were coming along and then it kind of switched over. Because that might give you some clues about when is it a really good time to kind of let go. Okay, so like it was doing all really, really well until that moment in February, and then it kind of went downhill. Well, what was going on at that time? Where was it in the process? That'll kind of show you when's a good time to detach. So it might be something where you start to see that, okay, there's this opportunity, things look like they're working well. Instead of me diving my nose into it at that point, let me take a deep breath and let me go find something else to go work on manifesting. Really good idea would be to find something that you're very confident in or that you feel really competent in and hop over into that particular subject. So like for me, if I was trying to switch this energy, when I saw that it was starting to come, okay, deep breath. What's my next thing I want to focus at the gym? Because I'm good at the gym. I know I can manifest that. And so then I stay in that vibration of confidence and positive expectation about being able to do things without getting into resistance over here. You're like right there. Okay. You're right there. So the nice thing is these are going to keep coming for you. And so you're going to have opportunities to switch it. Just remember getting too resistant towards the end. Oh, we hopped up again. One more question, then I'm going to get back to our signs here. Coffee not included. Could you please quickly summarize your manifestation routine? Ooh. Well, as I've gotten further into it, it's less of a routine. And I think there's a lesson in that. So when I first started learning about the law of attraction, like a lot of people, I had a much more rigid way of doing it. So, like, certain affirmations at certain times, or at this time of day, I'm journaling, or I got this vision board over here. And now it's a little bit more go where I want to go, focus where I want to focus. And I try to manifest more in the moment rather than too far out in advance. So I do have like dreams and goals and visions. And when I get those things, I do put them out there. Like, okay, I'd like to manifest this for my business. Like to manifest this trip, etc. I will put those out. But I found it's really effective for me to just stay dialed in and think about what am I trying to manifest right now and set intentions for that. So like it is a routine for me. Like before I get on a live, I'll think about, okay, this is what I want to accomplish on the live. I want people to really enjoy it. I want to have fun. I want them to get good content from it, them to get good information. And so that when I sit down, that's kind of the vibration that I get into. Okay. When I get up, well, now I want to take some time to relax and I'll think about that for a second and then go do that particular activity. So that's probably the only real routine. Aside from that, I do like to utilize the morning. So, like I gave an example a few minutes ago about when you first wake up, I do really feel that that's very helpful. First thing in the morning is to sit there and think some kind of positive thinking, whether you're trying to attract abundance or work on your self worth or think about things that you want to create. But those first few moments where you're in bed, that's a really good time for you to practice thinking positively, what's going well. But aside from that, I really kind of go with the flow. Okay. And that's been more effective for me than being very dogmatic about certain strategies like journaling and vision boards, etc. If I feel like doing those, I do them, but those are an in the moment kind of thing. Oh, we got a super chat here. Hi, Olga. Let me grab this real quick. Ooh, your first super chat. Thank you. Dear Andrea, how to focus on someone else to become abundant, a loved one, and also me, but just not me. Thank you a lot. Yeah. So, the big thing with focusing on others is focus on how they already are abundant. So, the tendency is if there's somebody that you want to attract abundance for, there's a good chance that that person right now is indicating to you signs of lack, or maybe they got kicked out of their house or whatever. There's something going on where you feel that they need your assistance. And so when we focus on this person needs help, this person's poor, this person's not abundant, then we align with the reality where that person stays stuck there. So instead, what you want to do is you want to focus on how are they abundant already? What do they have coming? What is working out for them? And that will help your consciousness align with a version of them that is more abundant. And once you do that, you'll start to see things happen. So I've done this with people before, and then suddenly they got a new job, or suddenly they start getting more money over here. And then when you see that, affirm it. Oh, I created more wealth for them. Oh, look at this go. And then that will help spiral it up more. Okay. And for you, I mean, while you're doing that, when you see that, affirming that, look at how much I'm so abundant that I can create wealth on other people's behalf. Affirm that. Okay. So that's what I recommend for somebody else. Okay. As you do that and you see it working, look at how much wealth I'm creating for them. Look how abundant I am, I can create for other people. All right, let's get to our next step here. So again, today we're talking about 5 signs that you will become wealthy with the law of attraction. And if you have not yet, please make sure to go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram if you haven't yet already. I do put out content like this every single week. And also, if you haven't yet taken my manifesting test, I know a lot of you have, but if you haven't yet, please make sure to go ahead and do it. It's free, it's quick. It can be found at manifestingtest.com. And it is a test where you can put something out and watch it come back so that you know for certain that you really are the creator of your reality. And I'm not just over here talking about nonsense, but this is a real phenomenon that you are creating your reality through the law of attraction. You can find that link at manifestingtest.com. Again, that's manifestingtest.com. Or if you are on Instagram, again, link is in my bio. I have a link tree there with all the links that you would want to see. All right, let's get into our next sign here that you will be wealthy through the law of attraction. All right, so for our next one, and we just kind of talked on this a few moments ago, generosity. Okay, generosity. Generosity. If you are a generous person, now there is a distinction, not all generous people. If you're people pleasy generous, this ain't for you. Okay. I'm talking about authentically generous in as far as when you are generous towards people, you get a kick out of it. It's fun for you and it makes you feel abundant. Okay. People that have the ability to be generous in that way will attract more wealth. So the example that I like to think about for this one is, if you were to go out to dinner with somebody who's wealthy, you'll often see that that person picks up the check. Okay, they'll pick up the check. They'll have a big dinner. They're telling everybody to get more wine, get dessert, get the appetizer, get whatever you want. I've got it. And it's like they take pride in getting the check out. Now, as my abundance has grown, I've gotten to know a lot more people who have money. And I'll tell you what, it's like it almost bugs certain people who are wealthy to not be the one that puts down the credit card on the table at the end of the night, because it's almost like a sign, I'm the most abundant person here. That's why I'm able to be paying for this. Okay. So you want to start to develop that attitude of generosity. Now, I do make the distinction that you don't want to be people pleasy, because if you're giving from a place of obligation and you don't feel good about it, it feels like money's being taken from me. Money's being taken from me. So I do not advise being generous if it makes you feel lack, if it makes you feel like you're being taken advantage of, because that will accelerate the being taken advantage of and the lack, the loss of money. But you want to start to cultivate giving from a place of abundance. So what I would do is, that this is not a sign that you're yet seeing really, really big in your reality, I'd like you to think about a dollar amount that you would be comfortable with parting with. Okay. Maybe it's $100, maybe it's $5, maybe it's 50 cents. Okay. It doesn't matter to me, but pick a dollar amount that you're comfortable with giving, and then find a way to be able to give that somehow in some way, form, or fashion. So maybe giving it as a tip. Maybe, you see a kid on the street and give them money to buy candy. Maybe picking up someone's coffee. Maybe buying someone lunch. But I want you to think about, what could I give somebody with this amount of money, to practice the idea that I can be generous and give from a place of, I have more than enough to give. I have more than enough to give. This is a really great strategy. You want to start to practice generosity. Now, I mentioned before, with me, I've always really liked doing this with tipping, like trying to be a bigger tipper, always tipping in different places. That for me is one way that I like to do it. I also like picking up tabs when I can. So, stuff like that. Being philanthropic. We had someone over here talking about being philanthropic, giving to causes that are important to you. But the idea is, when you give it, I have more than enough to give. I'm so abundant. I can give this and it is of no consequence. I've got just a drop in the bucket. I have more than enough to give. That's a vibration you want to start to practice, because ultimately you want to be like that really wealthy guy at the really fancy restaurant with the big table of people, who's telling everybody to get champagne and who's paying for the check himself at the end of the night and tipping largely. Because there's a reason why that guy has the money to do that. It's because he's generous. Okay. So stepping into that place of generosity where you feel abundant enough to be generous is a huge sign that you will attract wealth through the law of attraction. So start practicing that one if you're not seeing that at a really high level right now. All right. Look there here for some questions. If you've got questions about abundance, go ahead and drop them into the chat. I'm going to answer as many of those as I can. Forward on Instagram, what do you think is the best way to spend the money? However you want to spend it. Spend it in a way that you feel good about. And I also think it's helpful to spend on things that you want, that perhaps heretofore you wouldn't have allowed yourself to get, because that'll allow you to step more into the knowledge that you can get the things that you want. But it's really about you. What do you feel good about? What do you want? What makes you feel abundant? And not spending from a place of feeling like it's obligation. That's a big one. We don't want to be doing that. Don't be paying someone else's bills just because they're putting the press on you. Okay, that's not going to make you feel good. Be spending it from a place of feeling abundant. All right. Hi, Andrea. Peter D. Hi, Andrea. How would you teach small children, 6 and 4, about money? Well, I mean, you get them play money. I like to let my kids when they were little do things like hold the credit card, run the credit card at the grocery store, get them comfortable with it, let them carry money. So like when you go to a store, if there's something small, like give them the money, let them go and pay for an item. Let them give money, let them have the opportunity to play with it and practice with it. I think is really helpful. I'm a real big believer in getting your hands on money and making it a normal practice to spend it rather than the hide it and pretend it's not around thing. And I think that's where a lot of us, we were taught incorrectly as children is that the parents or the authority figures were not like leaving money around. They didn't want us touching it. They wanted, keep it under wraps, keep it tucked away. And so for my kids, I really want them to be comfortable with the idea of money, comfortable with spending, comfortable with asking. That's another thing. Don't shame your children for asking for things. Like you want your kids to ask for stuff because it means that they believe that they can have it. So like even if you don't want to buy it for them or in that moment it's not appropriate for you to get it for them, you can always validate like, wow, that's a really great thing to ask for. Maybe at some point we'll be able to get that. We're not going to get it today, but keep that idea because maybe we'll get that in the future and validate to them that it's good for them to want things. It's good for them to expect good things to come rather than trying to shame them for asking stuff, which a lot of parents did. I know a lot of our parents did that. And then we feel bad asking for things that we want, and then that reduces the amount of money that comes to us. Prophets of the Apocalypse War Metal. Hello, Pete from Nashville here. I've been manifesting successfully. I've upped my wardrobe, slowed my pace. I see the universe directing me to odd investments. I want to parlay these into huge profits. Then go for it. Go for it. Just don't get too attached. Go for it and see where it takes you. You know, keep it cavalier. Keep the slow pace about it. Don't push it. But if you're feeling called, go. Just remember that question we had before about I see these things coming, but then it stops at the end. Okay, that's a sign that okay, I'm getting in that mode, but then I start clinging. Okay, so that's the only thing I would say there is get into it, but stay detached. Jump for joy. I've asked my questions on every live you've had in the last 2 months, and you have not answered any of them. So I'm letting go and detaching. I don't care if you answer my questions or not. Well, there you go. I promise you it wasn't intentional. We get lots of questions. All right. So moving right along. Again, we're going over 5 signs that you will become wealthy with the law of attraction. First one was seeing investments as expenditures. The second one was having big financial dreams. The third one, generosity. Okay, for the fourth one here, appreciating luxury. Appreciate luxury rather than looking down on it, talking down about it, being envious about it. And I noticed this from when I came from a non-abundant life to a more abundant life. You'll see this, okay? When you're hanging around more in a low abundant state and you're hanging around more low abundance people, there is kind of this tendency to look down on opulence. Again, like it's a waste of money, or that those people are just looking for attention, or it's unnecessary, or there's something, it's too greedy. There's this looking down mentality on nicer things. Okay. But if you have kind of this disdain for luxury, what you're projecting on it is a lower vibrational state towards it. And in order to attract opulence and attract luxury, you have to have a state of appreciation for it. Now, as my abundance attraction has improved and I'm around people that have more money, I've noticed that these people really do appreciate luxury. They like to observe nicer things. They like to look at nice cars or appreciate clothing. Or if you're wearing something nice, they'll look, oh, look at that. And their eyes kind of light up about it. They get excited. Again, cars are something that I've been good at manifesting for a while. And I noticed this initially within myself was that as my ability to attract nicer cars was occurring, I was noticing that as I, was looking at cars on the road, I really just appreciate nice cars. If someone drives by in a Maybach, I don't get all bent out of shape about it. I'm like, wow, look at that. And I get excited about it. Okay. So you want to have that kind of an attitude about nicer things rather than the looking down attitude. Because the looking down attitude projects a lower vibration on nicer things and opulence and material wealth. Now, this may seem materialistic, but we're all here talking about abundance. What do we think we're doing? Okay. If you want to attract material wealth, you want to have a sense of appreciation for finer things. Okay. It's a very important thing, a very important sign that you're on the path to attracting more wealth is that when you see things like nice cars, nice houses, nice jewelry, stacks of cash, you kind of get excited rather than that state of feeling distressed about it or a state of lack about it. So the one way, if you're struggling in this department or this doesn't come naturally, the one way that I like to recommend that you look at it is that remember that you are the creator of your reality. Okay. So if something nice shows up in your reality, you created it. Now, maybe it's not in your house or in your bank account, but it is in your reality. So you put it there. So that way you can take ownership for it. No, I created that Maybach. I created that stack of money. I created that beautiful jewelry. I did it. I'm the creator of my reality. Take ownership for it. That will make it easier for you to appreciate opulence, appreciate luxury. Because once you notice that you're appreciating finer things, that's a huge sign that you're on the way to attracting more money. Jenna La Rosa, what's the biggest thing you ever manifested? The most impactful for me was getting off of opioids and not having withdrawal. That's not even money, but that was like big for me. 'Cause opiate any of you ever that's a left turn. If you don't know about my, drug addiction issues, if any of you have had opiate addiction or, like, whether it's pain medication or heroin or methadone, those withdrawals are god awful, and I've gone through so much withdrawal that the ability to manifest out of that without any withdrawal was like, "Oh my gosh." So, to me, that was the biggest. Carlton, I understand about detachment, like getting excited about playing a note on the trumpet, overshoot the sweet spots over and blow up and mess up the note. Yeah. Yeah. If you guys have ever played an instrument, you blow too hard and it sounds terrible. Yeah. Maintaining like in the flow. Exactly. You keep playing, but you don't get too excited. Alexis, how can I let go of something that feels like if I don't get it, I may literally be on the street? How could it possibly be a good thing to not have the basic things you need to live? So, in situations like that, I like to think of an adventure. Okay, so this is the way I think about it now. So let me just give you kind of an idea and then you can adapt this for your own situation. So, remember when we had COVID and everybody was freaking out about money? Remember that? I was able to stay pretty loosey goosey about it. But if and when there was a moment where I would worry about, oh, is the economy just going to dry up and what's going to happen to the bank account? I had this thought, and this is a thought that I'll replay anytime I do something kind of, maybe risky with money, if I'm worried about losing money. I could always take the money that I've got and just go move to Thailand, and I would be set for a really long time because the cost of the American dollar is worth a lot more there. So you see how like I'm able to look at if worst comes to worst, I can pack up anything and go to a country over here and live there with what I've got and be a-okay. So that's kind of what I would be looking at is try to find what you have. Maybe it'd be a totally different situation, but how is what you have enough? How is it enough? Or if I had to be on the streets, how is that an adventure? How would that be an adventure? Well, sure, none of us want to be homeless, right? But shoot, if you end up homeless and then get your way out of being homeless, that's an adventure. That's a story for life. That's one for the books. That's like, hey, me talking about opiate withdrawal, that really sucked, but hey, that ride was an adventure. Okay. So that's what we're trying to do is like in the moment, you don't want to push against that idea, but you want to say, worst case scenario, if that happens, well, shoot, now I can write a book about it. I mean, that's the way you want to kind of look at it so that you're not scared of it, but rather you remember all of life is just an adventure. It's something to be doing. It'd be interesting, and you're not so worried about it anymore. There's nowhere we got to go. It doesn't matter if you accomplish millionaire status or if you end up on the streets. That's really irrelevant. Okay. So that's the thing you want to kind of get into your mind. Reality is a game. I'm just here having fun. So who cares? All right. I hope that helps. But that's the way I would talk myself out of a situation like that. Because once you don't care and it doesn't bother you, you'll stop attracting evidence that it's moving in that direction. All right. Ooh. Oh, hey, Mary, would you go ahead and drop in another link for me? I wanted to mention too. Yeah, if you guys are enjoying this content, you may be interested in looking into my membership program. So, little shameless plug here, real quick. If you enjoy content like this, I do have over 300 manifesting resources on my member website right now that cannot be found on YouTube or anywhere else. And you also get login access to my app, all that good stuff. So if you're interested in learning more from me, getting a lot more content, you can find that over at andreaschulman.com. And yes, Mary's going to go ahead and she did drop that into the chat as well. So if you are interested in that, please do check that out. I've got all kinds of stuff on all different topics: abundance, relationship, health, career, business, you name it. All right, let's move along here. We've got another sign here that you will be wealthy through the law of attraction. All right. Ooh, I like this one. Willingness to risk. Willingness to risk. Are you risk averse or do you like to take a chance? Riskiness, and I don't mean being stupid. But I mean taking chances, taking calculated risks, and in particular, going for things that are important to you or are big to you or are fun for you. Taking chances is a good sign that you will be wealthy with the law of attraction, particularly if you like to take risks with making money. This is something that I've noticed. This was not really a habit that I had personally when I first started, working with the law of attraction and growing my abundance. But as I moved into a more affluent community, I started to notice that wealthy people around me, a lot of them do this. And so this is something that I've been working on over the last few years. And as I do this more, I definitely see it has enhanced my wealth tremendously. So taking risks. What I mean by that is like if you have a business idea, go for it, If you have an investment idea, go for it. You want to buy an investment property? Figure it out. Just take a leap. Go do it. Now, the thing about this that's really helpful is that when you're able to take risks with your money, what you're saying to the universe is, I can let this go. I believe this is going to pay off. Even if I don't get this money back, I'm going to be okay, which is a radically different perspective than I used to have when I didn't have money and the people around me didn't have money. That attitude was more like, "Well, hold on to your pennies, save them for a rainy day. You don't want to waste that. What if you lose that? You're not going to be okay." And so being unwilling to take chances with money, to take risks, is a sign that you're going to stay stuck kind of in the same spot. So I have definitely noticed this with wealthy people is that they take risks. They take even if they go to like the casino, like they'll put a big hand on the table, like they'll take a chance. All right. Now that's not to say again that you need to be stupid about how you make these choices. I don't ask you to be stupid and just do every silly little risk, but train yourself to take a few more chances, a few more financial chances. just to get into that habit of allowing yourself to step into that vibration that maybe this will work out for me. I believe I could get more money. I can let this go. Everything's going to be okay. That's the real big block. If we're talking about money blocks, so somebody asked something about that earlier on Instagram. If we're talking about money blocks, that's one of the big ones. Is this attitude of I got to hold on to my money, keep it safe, is a scarcity mentality. But the more you can kind of let it go, play with it, have fun with it, take chances with it, you have a more abundant attitude, which is that there's more coming. What does it matter? I can let this go, more will come back. Now, this does require a degree of trust because initially you're probably not going to believe that if you don't have a great degree of abundance. But as you start to notice that you let it go, more comes back, you let it go, more comes back, you're going to be encouraged to do that more and more, to the tune where you see people that are like billionaires out there spending ridiculous amounts of money on crazy stuff because they're used to taking risks. So you want to train yourself to be more of a risk taker with money. Risk takers with money do attract more money. All right. So consider that as something to enhance your abundance if you're not already seeing that in your own reality. Bradford Kaw, how do you deal with people who expect you to give, such as parents demanding kids to contribute to their retirement plan? I would say no. No, thank you. Demanding, if it's demanding, no. No, 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 no. So that's a good question because that's a distinction there. So when we're talking about generosity, you're the one choosing to be generous. Okay. It's not being, if it gives the vibe that it's being taken from me, nope, 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 nope. Now, if you want to give in some other way, by all means, but you're the one deciding. Okay. So you don't want to feed into that energy of being hijacked. So that's the one that the people pleasing generosity comes from, is that they get used to people asking for them for things and they acquiesce. Okay, I'll give it to you. Okay, I'll give it to you. No, 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 no. I'm the creator. I decide. I give the generosity. Okay. Now, that being said, if somebody asked you for money and you wanted to give it to them and you felt inspired and you felt abundant in doing it, then by all means. But when I hear the word demanding, nope. Sorry, mom. Not going to happen. Not today. Sven, I have taken opioids on a short term basis. Glad you stopped at short term. Currently trying to withdraw from sugar as a carb addict. It's all the same. Yeah. Sugar will be should be easier. That's We've got a couple people from Thailand here. My Style Kitchen by Appa and Mark. Hello. Emily says, how to release the thought of I need this now and trust. Ready to let go of my job, toxic boss that I tried to get along with. I do have multiple incomes, but I feel I need a job. Well, you can always inch out of it too. I mean, if you really feel like you need a job, you don't have to just take the leap. You can start to pull away slowly, go to part time and use momentum. And then the other example that I gave earlier is trying to stop doing other work in your reality. So if there's other things that you're doing that feel like work in your reality that you can stop doing, like then don't do them. Like if you get your kids to wash the dishes, now you don't have to wash dishes, right? You know, if there's something that you do that's work that you don't have to be doing, getting rid of that. Because the less you focus on, I'm busy, I'm doing work, I'm doing all this stuff I don't want to do, the more that accelerates and the more you're going to feel stuck in a world where you need to have a job and you need to work. The more you can start to let go of the need to do so much stuff, the more that your reality is going to shift in such a way to allow you a lot more freedom where you're not really working so much, you're more doing the things that you want to be doing. So just playing with that energy will help get you unstuck and you'll just see that you don't need the job. It'll rearrange in such a way. So if you're not ready to just make the leap, I would recommend doing that and then allow the way to be shown to you. That's what I did. R. Mary Patrick, tips to manifest weight loss. I can manifest things like my dream job, but I've been struggling with weight loss. I know what to do and can get on a roll, but then fall back and give up. So, the big thing, what I would say about weight loss, again, what you focus on, you attract more of. So, when you focus on your progress, you'll attract more progress. So, find things that you can have success with every day in your weight loss. So, what I mean by that is like maybe you want to track your food. Okay. So then if you track your food every day, you can give yourself a pat on the back like, "Ooh, I did that thing. I tracked my food, or I ate my vegetables, or I drank that water." Okay. And so give yourself targets that you can accomplish that give you progress in that direction. Okay. So that every day you're celebrating, "Oh, I stayed on top of this. I stayed on top of this. I stayed on top of this." Things that you relate to weight loss. Okay. And also, like when you get on the scale, getting on the scale at times where you feel good about getting onto the scale rather than getting on the scale at times where you just know the scale doesn't want to show you what you want it to see. um, Thinking positively, getting yourself in a good vibration before you step on the scale can be useful. So that's a trick that I use a lot when I want to lose weight. If there's a couple pounds I want to lose, is I'll sit there and think about, okay, I'm in a good mood, things are going good, I look good. Now I get on the scale. And if you get on the scale when you're in a better mood, the scale is more going to reflect that better mood where maybe you lost a pound or you lost 2 pounds. Then you affirm, look at what I did, look at what I did. Okay. So it's really just about focusing on progress. Okay, the more you can focus on progress, I'm doing this well, I'm doing a good job, the more it's going to work. Most people focus on the opposite. It's not working, it's not going fast enough. Look at this roll on my side. They're looking at the opposite, and so they get stuck. Okay, I do have another program on that called Empowered Weight Loss on my website. If you're interested in that, you can take a look. And then, yes, I also do have, again, a reminder, I do have a couple programs that are coming up on sale. One of them is my love attraction program, Magnetic Appeal. Remember, that one will be going on sale next month for 50% off. That's its best price. That one's good for really anyone who's looking for improvement in their love life, whether you need a partner or the partner that you have things aren't working out with and you'd like the passion and the romance to go back up and the connection. That program is called Magnetic Appeal, and that will be on sale next month. If you're interested in getting the coupon codes that I'll be sending out for that particular program, make sure to go ahead and click that link. Either you'll see it in the chat on YouTube or on the link in my bio on Instagram. The other program that will be going up in a couple of months in October is a new program on detachment. If you want to become good at letting go so that your manifestations can come, this is a program called Relax and Detach. It's very easy for people to get stuck in the cycle of attachment. Attachments are addictive. They're very addictive in nature. Most of us are very drawn into becoming attached to the things that we want. And so, in that program, I'm going to show you how you can avoid getting stuck in that trap and also how to get yourself out of that trap if you're currently stuck in it and you're attached to something that you want to manifest. Again, that program will be going live in October and it will start off the first week for 50% off. So if you would like the updates on that program, go ahead and click the link for that one. Again, it's on YouTube in the chat, Relax and Detach. And again, link in my bio on Instagram. As far as my next session, I will be back on Sunday. Usually I come on Thursdays, but I'll be going Sunday next week. I might be posting a video on Thursday, so you still might see me on Thursday, but my next live will be a week from today. So I'll be back on Instagram and YouTube next Sunday. But I'm going to have to sign off, guys. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you guys hopefully next week. All right. Bye, guys.